Hey, it's Sri here. Now firstly, just Happy New Year for 2022. It's obviously the start of the year and it's my first video for the year, and one of the things I notice is that a lot of people at the start of the year always like to set goals and have New Year's resolutions, but what typically happens is it's around the middle of the month, which is normally the cutoff point at which people break those resolutions. And so what I wanted to do in this video is I'm going to talk you through 3 important questions that you want to be asking yourself when you're setting goals for the year when it comes to your relationship, or to be honest, any area of your life, and really ensuring that those questions are taken into consideration so that you can ultimately manifest the very thing that you actually want in your life. Now, if you're watching this video, the chances are that there's a part of you that really wants to try and take your marriage to another level, and I really honor you for that. But I know that it can be really, really confusing, and it creates a lot of uncertainty around the steps that you actually need to be taking. And I get that. And, rest assured, I was very much in that process myself at one point in time. So what I'd suggest you do is, if it does feel right, if you connect with some of my material and you potentially want to be a part of my program, then all you need to do is just click on the link below where it says book a call with me. You can click on that link, just choose a time that works for you, and then I'll contact you at the scheduled time just to see if I can help in any particular way. If it feels right, then we can work through the details. If not, I'll make sure I give you a couple of tips and tricks and really help you to move forward on this journey of yours. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below so that every week you get access to my latest videos, just teaching you specifically about how you can improve your marriage, how you can awaken your goddess within, and just really become the best version of yourself while you're going through a really difficult time in your marriage. Now, if you're watching this video and you're thinking to yourself, what the hell has goal setting got to do with my marriage? I just really want you to take the time to just really go through this video, because it's got some really important strategies and some questions that you need to ask yourself if you're going through this process of trying to save your marriage or improve it, or even just wanting to attain some goals in other areas of your life as well. Now, goal setting is a really interesting topic. People have been setting goals and setting resolutions for centuries, but what I often see is that when people go about setting goals, they sort of go about it all the wrong way. They don't apply the right strategies and the right techniques in order to be able to accomplish the very thing that they want. And because of that, they never get those goals, and they feel like, oh look, this is just a waste of time. I always set resolutions, I always set goals, and they never come to fruition. So therefore, you know what? I'm not even going to bother with it. Now, I've been doing goal setting for probably about 10 years now, and it's a very, very important part of my life. And in the early stages, I was a little bit sort of Mickey Mouse with it. But then as I sort of grew and developed, I noticed that if I applied it in the right way and if I used the right strategies, a lot of the things that I actually wanted to accomplish can really come true, and they definitely did. So with that in mind, what I'm going to talk you through are 3 important questions that you want to ask yourself as you're going through this process of setting goals for the new year, and really giving yourself the best chance of attracting and manifesting that very thing that you actually want in your life. So the first question that you want to ask yourself is, what do you want? Now, you might listen to that and think, well, that's pretty simple, but you'd be amazed at how many people don't actually really understand what they truly want. Now, in the context of a marriage, a couple of years ago, I remember working with a young lady, and she was, in a really difficult time in her marriage. Her and her husband is separated. He was actually in a relationship with someone else, but they were still communicating quite a bit. And her goal was simply this: she wanted to get her husband back home. So that was the goal that she set. And she didn't want to be deterred from that particular goal. It was all about getting her husband back. And so, sure enough, we did a lot of really amazing work. Her husband came back. But the interesting thing was that when he came back, she felt even more insecure than she did when they were actually separated. And the reason is because she wasn't actually really clear on what she actually wanted. It's one thing to have your husband come back, but do you just want him to come back and carry on with the same circumstances? Just carry on with the same behaviors? Or do you want to actually create something new in the marriage? What does everyday life look like? How do you want the communication to occur? What do you want the levels of intimacy to be like? What do you actually want in terms of your own growth? It is so important to ask yourself those types of questions and really going deep into what it is that you actually want and being crystal clear on that. A vague goal will get you vague results. but a specific goal will give you specific results. And like I say, this is applicable in other areas of your life as well. A lot of people might say, well, I just want to make more money. All right, well, here's $100. Is that enough? You know, you want to be specific. How much extra income do you want to be earning every month or every year? So be really, really specific on what it is that you want. And the other key point, when you're doing these things, focus on the positive rather than the negative. So let's say, for example, you're wanting to lose weight. Rather than saying, I want to lose that weight, it's, I want to get to my particular athletic weight, whatever that may be for you. If it's relating to finances, rather than saying, I want to eliminate debt, it's, I want to achieve a certain level of abundance. And that will be specific to whatever it is that you want. So be specific, make sure that it's actually for the positive, and really get clear, crystal clear on what it is that you actually want. Like I say, if you're watching this video, chances are it's going to be relating to a relationship. And so if it is relating to a relationship or a marriage, you want to get specific of what are the day-to-day activities that you want to be experiencing. What sort of levels of intimacy do you want to be having in terms of, frequency, or, do you want to be having X number of date nights per week, and so on. Be really specific about those things, because that's how you're going to actually mobilize those goals and actually achieve them and experience them. If you just set vague goals, you're going to get vague results. Now, the second question that you want to be asking yourself when you're going about setting goals is, why do you want them? So many people just want to have a relationship for the sake of it, or they want to make a whole bunch of money just because everyone else is making a lot of money, or they want to get to a particular weight because they just want to, or they want to have a particular career because they just think that that's just the natural progression for them. But why is it that you really want those things? Why do you want that extraordinary relationship? What is it going to give you? You see, a lot of people come to me and they say, Shri, I just want to save my marriage. I have to save my marriage. And I often ask them, well, why do you want to save their marriage? Oh, because I love him. Okay? And what does that love actually give you? And then when you go actually a little bit deeper and deeper into it, you realize a number of things. That a lot of the time people are wanting to save their marriage because they've just invested a lot of time and energy into the marriage and they don't want to let go of that. Or they just hate the feeling of being alone. Or they're worried that they're not going to be able to survive financially or be able to just exist without their husband, and so on. You see, to me, and I mean this with the greatest respect to all of you who are watching this, but that's not enough of a reason. It plays a part in it, and I'm not in any way trying to disrespect any of the emotions and the feelings that you're going through, because I know how intense it is when you've been with someone for such a long time, and then the possibility of that ending, it just creates so much pain inside. But you've got to ask yourself why. What is the fundamental reason, and why do I want to change it? And the reason you want to ask these questions is because you want your motivation to come from the right place. If you're wanting to save the marriage because you've got this empty void inside, in other words, you feel a deep sense of loneliness and pain inside, and this marriage is going to somehow fill that void, it will never ever fill that void completely. It might give you temporary moments of relief, but it won't actually truly heal those wounds inside. So therefore, you have to ask yourself and get clear around why it is that you want to save the marriage. Now, if it is one of those reasons that I talked about, you might say, well, what does that mean? Does that mean I just don't work on that at all? Does it mean that I just don't work on my marriage? No, not at all. You can still work on your marriage, but you might set another goal that says, I want to truly find happiness in my life, and that happiness looks like this, 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 and this. Or if you've been struggling with feelings of inadequacy, it might be, I want to set a goal where I feel like I am enough and I am perfect just as I am. Because then what happens is you've got these rock solid foundations internally within yourself, and when you feel like you're enough just as you are, then that's going to be reflected in the marriage, and you're going to show up so differently. So it's really important to get clear around what is it you want, and then why do you want it. Like I say, if you are in a situation where wanting to save your marriage, that's wonderful. You want to save your marriage, you want to but you want to flip it around as well and say, I want to create an extraordinary marriage rather than I want to prevent divorce. So always put it in the positive, and if it is because of the reasons of inadequacy or feeling lonely or whatever, then you can say, well, my other goal that I'm going to set is to feel like I am enough and perfect just as I am. Okay? So those are some just key points when it comes to why it is that you want to accomplish that goal. And finally, the third question that you want to ask yourself is, who do you need to become in order to experience and achieve that goal? Now, a simple example could be that if you wanted to become a millionaire and you just want to make millions of dollars, for example. Now, you might want to make millions of dollars, but if you have the mindset of someone who is always freaking out about debt and worried about debt all the time, and also at a deeper level feels that they're not capable of making that sort of money, then you will never experience it. So it's all about becoming the kind of person that you need to become in order to achieve those goals. And the same goes with marriages. If you want to have an extraordinary marriage, what needs to happen? Who do you need to become? Well, it may be a case of needing to become a person who can speak her truth. It could be becoming a person that knows how to set boundaries. It could be becoming a person that has healed some of her internal wounds of inadequacy, and so therefore she feels like she is enough, and when she feels like she's enough, she's going to show up in the best possible way within her marriage, and so on. So there's a number of different things that need to be worked on internally within ourselves, and that's why it's always key to ask ourselves, who do we need to become in order to accomplish those particular goals? And to be honest, I would say that this is the most important step in the process. You've got to get clear on who you need to become, because otherwise you've got this discrepancy. You've got this goal over here which you want to accomplish, but then you're operating on these foundations and you'll never really get there. And you might make some progress, but it won't be quite the level that you want to be operating at as well. And then the end of the year will come and you'll feel dejected because you won't have got the results that you want. Now, just to be clear, you absolutely can do this. It's a beautiful thing. I can tell you now, I always say, if I'm able to do some of these things, anyone can do it. Because I had massive insecurities and massive issues when it came to my confidence and my self-esteem. So because I really worked hard on becoming the person that I needed to become, that doesn't mean that we suddenly change as a person and become someone totally different. It means that we address some of those deeper areas that we've been impacted with over the years, so that we become the best versions of ourselves. And we're all infinite when it comes to our potential. It's about claiming that potential and really realizing that you can accomplish whatever it is that you want. And so all of this stuff can be applied to your marriage. There's no doubt about that. And so to summarize, firstly, what do you want? Secondly, why do you want it? And 3, who do you need to become in order to accomplish those goals? And if you follow those steps and you have a really, really solid process and steps and concrete actions that you can take in order to accomplish those goals, then you're going to maximize your chances of getting it. And I always say it's not about perfection, it's about progress. And even if you make small little steps in the right direction, even if you don't accomplish it but you've made progress, that's perfect. That's great. You don't have to always be attached to an outcome to get those things. So even if you're at point 1 and you're wanting to get to point 10 and you're going from 1 to 5 and that's where you are at the end of the year, that's wonderful. You've made progress. It's a beautiful thing, and it's all about making progress, and that's where you find real joy in all of this. So I know that this video is a little bit different. Like I say, I really wanted to make sure that I gave you some sort of inspiration through this process. I didn't want to shoot at the start of the year because I think at that time everyone's got motivation, but then it's normally around the middle of the month when things start to wane a little bit. So that's why I wanted to shoot this video. I hope it's been helpful. If you are a bit unsure as to how to move forward and you really need a mentor and a community that's going to support you on this path to be able to help you to save your marriage and really take it to the next level, and really just create some shifts from within, that I'd encourage you to potentially be a part of my program, the Authentic Relationship System. So if it feels right for you, all you need to do is just click on the link below where it says book a call with me. Just click on that link, choose a time that works for you, just fill out the short application form, and then I'll contact you at the scheduled time just to see if there's any way that I can help through the program. If it's a good fit for you, if it is, then we'll work through the details. If it's not, then I'll make sure I give you a couple of steps to take in order to move forward on this path and this journey of yours. So thanks so much for watching this video. If you've liked it, make sure to hit the like button below. If you want to get more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and click on that bell notification as well so you get access to all of my latest videos every single week. And let me know what your biggest takeaway is from this video as well. Just write your comments below in the comment section. I'll make sure I reply to all of them as well. If you want to learn how to recover from infidelity, click this video above. And if you want to learn how to rebuild trust in a marriage, just click this video above. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, and I'll talk to you in the next video.